Hello, world. Welcome to Comic Book News. I'm your old pal, Dan Shaheen. Got a great show for you today. We're going to go back to the roots of this channel, and we're going to show some of the high-tech retail magic that goes on behind the scenes of running inventory and subscriptions for a comic book store. That's right. I know you're on the edge of your seat. It's going to be exciting. Well, for some of you, it's going to be really exciting. Because actually, this stuff, when I talk about this stuff, it's some of my most popular programming. People really, there's a hunger to know about how to run a comic book store, whether it's from comic book store owners or people who want to know to run a comic book store, open one, or just people who are just dorks. Like, you got to be heavily dorky to be into this. Got a few people watching already. Hey, Nerdette from Nerdette's Newsstand. Hey, she always drops it, says, hey, Nerdette, come by sometime. Let's have you on the show sometime. We'll talk to you about your awesome channel on YouTube. Friend of the show, Ryan Clater. World says hello, Dan, right back at you. Appreciate it, buddy. Ryan, great friend of the show. Elephant Eater Comics, all his pinball stuff. His son, Ryan Clater, Chip Off the Old Block, had a Kickstarter that we talked about and reviewed on this channel. Hey, Ryan. So without further ado, I want to start the show, but we got to take it to a different venue. I think it's time we get out of here and go, well, all right, here in the back cave, and we're going to bring in, without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and bring in Brian Garside. Hey, Brian.
My very own bat cave.
Awesome.
Colors tonight, yeah.
Brian Garside is the creator, and basically he's the big brains. He's the kingpin behind Manage Comics, and I hope I'm allowed to say what we're going to talk about today. Manage Comics
Absolutely.
2, the sequel.
That's right. Yeah, I think in the software world they call me the product owner, which sounds so important, right?
Well, you literally own it. You know, you're the guy. And I know a lot of people watching this are run comic book shops, and a lot of them use your software. Some of them use your competitor stuff, and you've got a different approach than some of your competitors. You tend to take more of a sort of an a la carte approach, as opposed to a soup to nuts approach that some other systems might take. So what? But why am I talking about it? I want you to talk a little bit about it. Tell us what's coming, what's new in Manage Comics 2.
Awesome. Sounds good. So yeah, I think it was about a year ago today that well, not quite today, but about a year ago that we first started talking about the whole, Comic Shop 2.0 thing. And during that time, so much has changed. I mean, we had Lunar and UCS, which is now just Lunar, dealing with all the DC stuff. We've had major shakeups at Diamond. We've got Penguin Random House, who's about to come into the fold in a really big way with Marvel. And, with that has come a ton of technical challenges. So I know you and I spoke very early on about just kind of the data challenges and fixing all of those, right? So we immediately, right when the pandemic began, first of all, we didn't charge any of our customers during the 3 months when there were no comics, obviously, because that would be unfair. But we get right to work immediately creating a data store, I guess you'd call it, for where all of this data would go. And then we built some tools off that. So we built a Shopify integration tool off that. And then that just started kind of wheels turning as we were playing around with this new technology like Shopify and thinking, wait, we've always just been subscriptions. And I think that's the thing that we do the best. But what if we were to integrate ourselves with a Shopify, with the Shopify point of sale system, and suddenly had kind of that end-to-end solution where we can do everything from the register all the way to the website, to your subscriptions, manage it all as one piece. So we really, really worked on that. We started probably like November last year. We started kind of putting the pieces together. January, we started coding. We expected to be done in end of April, and it's so yeah, we're going into beta next week. We're literally doing final bug stomps right now, which is really, really exciting. We've got 6 stores that we're going to beta test it with. Then we're going to do that for 2 weeks and just make sure everything runs smoothly. Then we'll add another 6 stores on, preferably with higher volume. So we've already got these guys kind of earmarked for who's going to be the first 12. And then we're going to open her up. So we've got a wait list available on our website right now, where people can get onto that wait list. And this will be a Shopify app that will be part of Shopify. But I think probably rather than me yammering on, why don't I just show you the awesomeness?
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. While you're pulling that up, we got another comment here. In this increasingly digital age, physical comics sold in stores seems like going against the tide. Like it or not, you can't stop progress. Here in NYC, that's New York City for you big timers like me. Physical comics, most comic stores have gone kaput in the last couple of decades. Remember Jim Hanley's universe? Of course, we remember Jim Hanley.
So JHU Books is one of our big stores in New York. So they're still around. They've got 4 locations right now, and they're a great managed comic shop. So yeah, they're not dead. They're and from what I've heard from the stores I've talked to, 2020 was by and large their best year. So there were 3 months where they were shut down, obviously, because there were no books. But other than that, like everybody is reporting increased sales. So
that's awesome.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, and Jim Hanley, by the way, he's not involved with the JHU stores anymore directly, but I'm proud to say that this channel was the first and only appearance of Jim Hanley on the internet. Right. You can go back and see my Rory Root tribute panel.
Right.
That had the man himself who got a webcam specifically just for that to pay tribute to Rory.
That's amazing.
Brian, speaking of amazing, show us the goods.
So yeah, let's start out with our new mascot. So this guy doesn't have a name yet. We're gonna hold a contest to name him, but he's our new mascot. We've gone from the kind of square old school robot to our new sleek, clean stuff. So let's go right into a Shopify website. So this is actually a Shopify website with actual Shopify products. So
we can go here right now to this URL and buy these things.
I know you can't because this is my example shop. So please don't.
Oh, okay.
My fake store. So right off the bat, I'm on Berserker, and you can subscribe to this series. So this takes you right into the managed comics subscription piece of the puzzle. We're still doing some cleanup because this will be all kind of one selection as you subscribe to your covers. But I can subscribe to variant covers. So I'm going to start out by subscribing to the main cover. Going to my subscriptions, I'll see my Berserker subscription there. Obviously, we've got to alphabetize this, but that's on my list. I can see my pre-orders of any trade paperbacks that I've pre-ordered. I can see everything that's in the next 3 months catalogs, and they're sorted by type. So I can take a look at all the clothing, maybe I want to.
Wow, and all these images and everything are just going to automatically be there for you as a managed comics user.
That's right. Yeah. So we maintain this entire catalog. Our catalog currently has 360,000 items. We add about 3,000 new items every month. We deal with all the major publishers or distributors. So Diamond, Lunar, Penguin Random House. We're working on getting deals with Hachette and all the other distributors as well. From a front end perspective, your customer will never know who your distributors are because they don't care. From a back end perspective, you can order from whichever distributor you need to. So we've built all the tools in on the back end, and then we tie everything together. So once this product actually comes into your store, it becomes a product in your actual Shopify store, which then gets transacted against. So it gets on the point of sale or on the website. And then now you have sales history. So now we can use that moving forward as well. Another favorite thing I have, this came from a lot of different stores. They asked us to add a browse by FOC. So every Friday, we get a message saying this is on our FOC this week. By the way, this is really cool because this is all asynchronously coming in from our Geek Fetch stuff. So how fast is that, right? Considering it's coming across a whole other system.
So across international borders and stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so all this stuff, and all this is configurable by the store. They can choose which distributors, which products. If a store just wants to carry comics and trade paperbacks, on the back end, I'll show you how easy it is for them to switch.
Oh my gosh, Brian, I can't tell you, as a guy who owned and ran a comic book store, the crappiest part is the ordering process, the compiling of the. This is the work. Like if I didn't have to do that, my life would have been a heck of a lot easier because it would take me, I'd procrastinate all month long and then cram it into a session. Or if I finally got off my, got my rear in gear and did it early, like everything would change by the time the order was due, and I'd have to re-review everything anyway because new news came. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, so we simplify all that stuff for you, and as we get more sales history data into our system, we're going to start building kind of predictive algorithms to figure out, okay, last month you got Batman, but this month there's a Batman Joker crossover, so your Joker numbers are this, so your Batman numbers might need to be this.
Nice.
So yeah, that's definitely kind of as we develop more and more of this data, getting things to be dead simple for a store. And every one of these things is a beautiful page that shows next issues, upcoming issues. This week, the other thing we're adding is the ability to subscribe to a specific issue and not just a series.
Great.
So that's
a long requested feature, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like somebody might just want this cover because they're a huge, I'm going to butcher this name, Julian Tedesco fan. So, that lets them do that. So on the back end, here we are in our Shopify store. So the first thing you're going to see when you land on it is just recent customer changes. This is the most insightful thing that our current stores tell us they see. We also send out emails about this stuff every night that says, this is what was added and removed. And there's always point in time reporting that you can always see who's got what. Our customer lists.
So wait a minute. I'm right. So we're inside of Shopify right now in a plugin to Shopify?
That's right. Yeah, we're in a Shopify app called Manage Comics.
So we're going to leverage the multi-billion-dollar Shopify experience, all the weight put behind the development of that framework to be able to sell comics through online and in the store.
That's right. And not only that, but this works just as well with our partners at BinderPause, who are actually the front end of the POS system. Their back end is all Shopify. So this will work with them. Additionally, we're a partner with Shopify POS, so we can actually put people in touch with their point of sale representatives who actually, like the guys that I talk to, understand comic stores. So they can actually walk you through, like, okay, here's how you'll set up a modern point of sale system.
Excellent.
Using Shopify. And I mean, their Shopify point of sale system is set up on an iPad. It's like so easy to use, and all your frontline staff will be able to use a very, very simple, low cost.
So let's talk about that for a second. That's BinderPause, and it's kind of maybe confusing to people when they talk about this system and that system and this system, right? Because some people want just like, I want to buy one thing. Yeah. But you sort of took a different approach, Brian. Tell us why.
Yeah, so I looked at, I've built e-commerce solutions in the past, and frankly, I don't want to, because what we do really, really well is a subscription solution, and it's such a unique product. Building a a shopping cart solution is just a pain, right? Like you've got to deal with so many different things, GDPR, all that stuff. We can draft off of all that by having a solution like Shopify as the e-commerce solution. Shopify also has their own point of sale system that they've put literally billions of dollars into. Yeah. So we draft off their point of sale system. Like we're not having, people put it together with binder ties and chicken wire. This is enterprise grade software that people much smarter than me are building and maintaining.
I think even more, it's consumer grade software, really, even, right? Where it's easy to use too, on top of having just a top-notch back end, on top of, just for people who are still not sold on cloud solutions in the year 2020, like, are you backing up your data, Mr. I run my local database? Maybe you are. You backing up every day? You taking that to offsite backups? Is that, like, if your store burns down, are you going to lose everything? Okay, maybe 1% of you are doing that, but for the rest of you, I think you want to think about cloud solutions.
Absolutely. And the big thing that I hear all the time is, well, what if my internet goes down? Well, if your internet goes down in your building, I'm betting that you have one of these devices, and I'm betting that you can tether that to an iPad. In fact, I know you can because I do it all the time. And I'm betting in 95% of the cases that the 4 or 5G connection you have on your cell phone is faster than your local connection anyway.
Probably will run faster.
If you have to tether, like you can tether for a few hours and have like better internet than you've got in your store anyway. And the data that's coming back and forth from Shopify is fairly minimal. So it's not like it's super data intensive.
Right.
Shopify does go down occasionally, but it's so rare and it's for such a short period of time that I would still say they've probably got, 4 or 5 nines of uptime.
Yeah, and I think any store, regardless of the system that you're using, you've got to be prepared you've got to have systems in place at the store level for what happens when you lose power, internet.
Absolutely.
What happens if there's a flood or a mutants attack or et cetera.
Absolutely. In terms of ordering stuff, we have all your initial orders right now for Diamond and Lunar. So here's I should probably pick a month thing. Here's my June initial order info for Diamond. Here's my June initial order info for Lunar. See how fast that is? Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Like I'm so happy with the way the guys have optimized our speed and everything. FOCs, you upload the FOC file from Diamond or Lunar, and then it populates it with all the subscriptions you need. I'll go to one more.
So in other words, one place to compile your orders and export for different distributors. Now, what if, and I don't know if this is even a case at all, I'm just going to throw a whammy at you, Brian. What if there's the same product available from 2 different distributors, maybe at different discount levels, et cetera? How does manage that?
Because Scout Comics is a great example of that. They're available from both Diamond and Lunar. So on the settings side, we let you choose which one of your distributors you want to deal with, the ones where we know there's crossover. And as that happens more and more, because we're going to have to do that for Marvel, obviously, we're going to have to do that for DC Trades, right? So it's not even at the publisher level; it's at the publisher type level. So we're just kind of fine tuning that stuff right now. So I can't show you those settings right now, but those will be available in the settings section, which I mean that's going to totally fix that problem.
Well, because now there's even the idea of a sub distributor, right? Like you could get your DC Trades through Diamond if you wanted to, right? I think,
absolutely.
or also through whoever. Holy cow! We used to complain about only having one choice. But honestly, there was a lot of cognitive overload that solved. And that's your bread and butter, Brian. That's your problem space that Managed Comics comes in to help solve, right?
And at the same time, you hear from people who say, like, okay, I didn't get the Barry Windsor Smith Monsters book a while ago. It sold out almost instantly at Diamond, but Hachette still had copies. So people were going to Hachette to get their copies. Now, how do you track that kind of in your back end system? How do you know this came in here and this, because
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that right now, Pullbox isn't doing that. So building those kind of layers on top of it, that's
Yes.
where we're putting all of our effort that would have been delivered on, improving our e-commerce solution or improving our POS. We're just going to layer and layer and layer and make this thing better all the time.
Hey, speaking of monsters, I just got my copy of it. Did you get? Have you read it yet?
I haven't gotten. Nobody has a copy in Canada. Even my buddy.
Oh, dude, go direct. Either go from Fanta or whoever their book trade distributor is has it. I got it in a day from my local bookstore.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta. We just had our lockdown lifted on Saturday here up in Ontario.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been tough. This is where you can actually change which product types are available on the front end. So I had mentioned that earlier, and let's say that I don't want to do comic supplies and diamond publications and games and novelties and this.
Right, because you don't necessarily, as a retailer, right, you don't necessarily want to put every product in the previews in front of your customers because, especially with supplies, you might have a regional supplier where you get your supplies at a much lower shipping price or whatever, and you don't necessarily want to pay the diamond tax on supplies. Right.
So you saw how quick that was. I changed it on the back end. I refreshed the front end, and it's done. So
amazing.
Yeah, everything's so nice and I am bigging my screen a little big. Here, let's get her back there. Back to the back end. So you can do that with both with types and with publishers. If there's some publishers like in Canada, we can't carry boundless, so I would just uncheck boundless, and it's that easy again. Let's get to the meat of the system, which is pulls. So I will add. Very wisely.
Guys, by the way, this is another comic book news exclusive. I don't think anybody's seen this yet, right, Brian?
No, you guys are the first ones to see it live. Like I've shown some demos using slides because I was afraid to do anything with it. But this is the first time I've done everything live. Oh, amazing. Good. Something went wrong.
Always during a demo.
I would say that, right? Let me try that again. Here, we'll do it with just one. I'll do it with the Lunar upload. Well, Lunar isn't happy today.
Now, talk about, man, some of the difficulties. I know I'm part of this sort of, like, I'm just a fly on the wall in the comics data working group where I see, like, it seems to have smoothed out quite a bit, but there have been a lot of challenges in getting data and data formats even somewhat standardized across distributors. Has that been a huge challenge, part of the challenge?
Yeah, it has. So all the files seem to be, all my files today seem to be broken, which is not good. And that's exactly a problem. I downloaded fresh files so that I'd have nice, clean data. I didn't want to test them, which I should have done.
Always test the demo, Brian.
I know, right? I tested everything except for the files.
It's all right. You can jump to the next feature. Now, this is part of the thing is that on a weekly basis, people are having to deal with these kind of struggles, and to have somebody who's playing point on the files and making sure that if there's a problem this week, that solution is getting disseminated to retailers is really a huge time saver.
And on the weekdays, like Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, we are on the ball from about 7 o'clock in the morning until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. There's usually very, very small problems, but 9 times out of 10, there's some stupid data problem that last week there was a problem with invoices where it had just the letters H code in just one thing that just made everything throw up. So we threw in a quick fix for that, but it's always something silly. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's simple human error, and it's really, really easy to fix, but we've got to be on the ball. I'm going to have to skip all the fun pulling part, which is kind of the power of the system. But basically you pull your invoices in, and then it generates a pull list, and it creates all the products on the front end, and creates a shortages report, which you can use to report to Diamond and Lunar anything that you were missing. And then it actually creates your products in in Shopify and gives you the ability to reserve a certain amount so that, somebody on Wednesday morning can't come in and steal all your Action Comics. You can reserve I only want to show 50% of them up front.
So in other words, like me, the retailer, you're saying you put a limiter on how many can be sold in the online store. For instance, if you want to make sure that you have copies on the shelf, is that the use case that you're? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Man, there's little bugs everywhere today. What a nightmare day.
Well, this is beta software, right? This is where we're almost ready to go.
Yeah, it's been really good because we've I'd rather find errors right now before we're live with anybody than in a week. So the other thing is, it actually grabs all your margins and everything like that off the invoice and applies those so that how much you're making on profit per item.
Oh wow, great!
It's grabbing your barcode, your SKU, any relevant tags. It tells it it's a magazine and it's from Tomorrow's. So we build all that stuff kind of into the system as part of the upload from Managed Comics. And then once all that's done, your customers get alerts that their orders have been pulled. It tells them exactly what's in that order, and they have the ability to pay for it before they even come into the store. Or if you're using the point of sale, you can just pull up, Stan Lee's name and his entire order. Actually, all of his orders will come up. And so if he hasn't been in for 4 weeks, you'll see exactly what was pulled for him each of those 4 weeks.
Great.
So yeah, that's.
And do we have the ability to have a credit card number for subscribers and charge them as the books come in, right? And
yeah, so Shopify doesn't let us do that out of the gate, but we're going to look into ways of doing that. So there's ways to do basically a prepaid pre-order. But we're just going to have to figure out how exactly to kind of track that going forward. The big problem is, there's always a half dozen things that never do come in. So if you've prepaid for
right, yeah, that's such a huge challenge in this business.
Absolutely, I'm still waiting for my McFarlane black and white statue that came out 6 months ago.
Well. Okay, Brian, any more features to show us? Any new stuff to show us for Managed Comics 2?
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's it's a couple days away from us going into beta. People can get on the wait list by going to managedcomics.com and adding themselves to the wait list right at the top of the page. And if anybody's got any questions, there's a chat window that comes up on the homepage. They can ask me, and I'm manning that thing most of the time because it's either on my desktop or on my phone. And so I annoy my wife when we're walking the dog and I'm answering questions on my phone as we're walking. Yeah, whatever, right? Okay,
well, what do you say we shift gears a little bit? And I invited you to come in and take a look. Yeah, so let's go. Take a look at some stuff. Where at? Where? Yeah, the $1 Million Comics Camp now. In HD, we've upgraded recently, and I actually just realized I had my settings wrong. So now we can get in here. We can get in here with some pan and scan action, right? And looking real close at this stuff today. We're going to look at, wow. Yeah, this is pretty amazing stuff. I got 2 Gorilla comics mailed to me this week, right? Two Monkey with Gun comics this week. So I had to talk about them. I also got some other really amazing stuff. I got this stuff. This guy. First, I got to talk about this guy first a little bit. Tony Farrow, okay? He sent me in. He told me I'm I was on a Facebook group with him. I'm like, hey, you should send in your comics to me. He goes, Dan, I did send them in. Oh, no. And I just thought you didn't like them. And I'm like, no, I never got them. And he sent them to me. And I promise you, I did not get any of these because I would have remembered these for sure.
Look at that classic. Right? Was that Caliber Comics logo style?
Okay. Yes. Yes, it is. That you recognize it is amazing. But wait a minute. Let's do the flip book. And do you recognize this style as well?
Oh, my God.
Remember Silver Wolf?
Yes.
Chris Silver's comics. So this guy, Tony Farrow, the Rubber Wolf guy, question mark, he's really obsessed with outlaw comics, what like the cartoonist kayfabe guys call outlaw comics. So he's just like written love letters to these things. You can see this one is a Charlton. This one is a giant size Marvel.
That's amazing.
This one, I think, what is this? Is this EC or like a DC special format? I'm trying to.
That looks like isn't that the classic kind of DC banner at the top there?
And well, it's not like I recognize the go-go checks normally, but this is a different one. This is a little more obscure. I think this is like one of the specials. I might be wrong. Tony's going so deep with his references. I'm not even. Sometimes I don't know. But lovingly crafted comics, and so lovingly. I mean, I only got a chance to fully read and sink my teeth into. I read Giant Size Monster Youth, which was co-produced by Tony. Tony did the art, and he had a guy, Mark McFinn, writing. And then he went on, I think, to write the rest of these. And I read, oh my gosh. Let me just say, Randy Tucker, Bomb Dude, and Ulf Maverick. Mwah. Chef's kiss, Tony. I love it so much. I'm not even going to talk about it right now. I want to bring Tony in and talk to him about him. I'm sorry to tease you.
That's awesome. The art looks like Veitch kind of inspired stuff. It looks so good.
You know, style-wise, he's got a real. He excels at humorous stuff. It's got a funny feel to all of it. The stuff that's written by Tony is very hilarious. The other stuff too, the giant size monster you stuff is very funny. Although the story flow is was a little hard for me to follow compared to this Tony stuff. Look at this color. Look at this in beautiful HD. We will just show it off, Tony, because I'll bring you in for sure.
That's gorgeous. Man, that's great.
Yeah, this guy's working really hard, honing his chops on these kind of comics. This really reminds me of, it looks like I want to say like Slow Death or some of the underground stuff. He's definitely very underground influenced as well. Color palette sublime. I love the color choices, just like looking back at the page and just how if you kind of blur your eyes, like the way the colors look on the page are just wonderful.
You know what I love about this stuff is you can literally see every issue these guys just progressing as storytellers and as illustrators, and like, oh man, panel to panel you can see impressive, like, God, this guy's good.
But I just love it. Yeah, no, I love it's like visual, it's comics candy. And his lettering is my favorite. Everybody else is pulling out a font and they're reaching for their Blambot or whatever. And this guy is just like, I'm gonna just keep writing by hand and get better and better at this comics and lettering.
Like, you know what's amazing too is like, look at that upper right hand corner panel. Like he's got every one of his characters has an instantly recognizable silhouette. So if you were just to see the silhouette of any one of those dudes, like that's a cartoonist. That's awesome. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing for sure, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Down to his lettering and his design and the layouts on the page. That's awesome. The pastiche covers. I just don't have enough time to go into as much detail on his stuff as I want to. Yeah. Without him, because I just want to talk to him about it. You deserve it, Tony. So we'll set that up soon.
Let's talk some monkeys. Because if there's three things I know, Dan, it's that kids love monkeys, kids love fire, and kids love fireworks. So if these monkeys have got fire or fireworks involved, I mean, this is a slam dunk.
Okay, well, right out of the gate, I'm going to say El Crudo is probably not for your kids. Okay, I'm going to say that. And I'm also going to say, fair warning, I have only read issue 1 of El Crudo and this single issue of Six Gun Gorilla, Long Days of Vengeance. Although they sent me, look at this, it's a full length.
Wow, that's awesome.
Right, and beautiful stuff on the inside. Great storytelling. Apparently inspired by the story Six Gun Gorilla, serialized in Wizard magazine, but Wizard from 1939.
Wow.
Written by persons unknown. And this, I leafed through the graphic novel. This is really the origin story too, and it's just showing like this sort of like origin of the gorilla from being captured in the jungle to being raised in a circus sideshow in the American West and like becoming this gunfighter's sort of partner.
That's amazing.
It's almost a BJ and the Bear type scenario, if you remember those movies.
The size of that gun.
This is great stuff. Now I want to talk about just the art really quick because these guys are solid. Writer Bushwick Brian Christgau, and artist Adrian Snake Eyes Cybar, with lettering by Mean Ram Mean, and cover by Adrian Snake Eyes as well. I want to say these guys got their lettering right. They did go digital, but they definitely went. They did it the right way. I'm going to say they kerned correctly. Mm-hmm. Their eyes, they don't have serifs on the eyes in the middle of the word. So you passed the kerning test, fellas.
Is there cross bars on their eyes when it's like the word eye?
Yeah, well, I'm
that's
looking for one. Yeah, of course. That's the key, right? Let me see. Well, here we go. And let me see if
nice. Look at that.
All right, so you passed the test, guys, as well as passing the test for whoever did the art. Obviously knew what they were doing enough to leave enough room for the word balloons that were in the script. It's a common mistake of rookie comic artists.
Speak sign language? Is that what I just saw?
This gorilla is definitely more than your typical gorilla.
Look, he's speaking sign language. That is so cool.
Well, and he says, and he's religious, and so in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost, Lord, have mercy on these men, because I will have none. And so what I love thinking about this is that this is like the romanticized version of what happened. And like, so in the comic version, the gorilla is charged up and goes. In the real version, it's like a cowboy pushing a monkey with a machine gun into a pack of gunfighters. But great fun. If you're looking for gorilla action, great Western action, and sort of just enough of a tweak outside of reality for you to accept, a gorilla gunfighter, then you're going to like this comic for sure.
The colors are amazing too. They do such a good job.
Colors has just come such a long way. Colors have become, as inkers have become less and less important or essential, the colorist has filled in for a lot of the modeling and the lighting stuff, right? Yeah. Beautiful looking stuff. I was a little confused because this one says Next Cemetery Without Crosses. Okay. And then they also sent me this, and it's like, oh, this is the same cover of that. But then I was in the middle of this, which by the way, is I'm going to read the whole thing, and I'll come back and maybe do a more thorough review of the graphic novel. Because I just got it yesterday. But then I saw the same page here. So I was a little confused with where this fit into this. Maybe this is just a taster or a teaser. I'm not sure. The one thing they didn't do is send any kind of letters or info about it. So I'm not too sure.
Here you go, kids. Send a cover letter.
But go facebook.com/sixgungorilla. Go check them out. And now, El Crudo, Brian. I don't... This is a weird one. Okay, I love it. So, first of all, I got 4 issues of El Crudo. right? I got issue 1 Into the Sausage Grinder. I got episode 2 Dragon's Blood. I got this crate. Now they started upping their game and getting like Photoshop on issue 3, Deal Breaker. And then issue 4 is just over the top with a wrap with this cover, separate cover, no, like a raw virgin cover, and full color action on the inside. But I've only read number 1. So I want to speak to number 1.
So first of all, we're dealing with an orangutan, so you know things are about to get off the chain, because orangutans are well known as the wild men of the primate species.
Well, they ran the show on Planet of the Apes, right? I mean,
That's right.
Dr. Zayas. Right. So he did send me this postcard, this El Crudo promotional postcard. Missed a golden opportunity to write a little note on the back.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm lonely in pandemic 2020. You send me a little note. Come on. All right, but let's look at this thing. So this is El Crudo. This is the world of El Crudo. And it's set, I guess it's Vietnam. And right off the bat, Brian, not for kids. Okay, like very first.
Oh yeah.
Right away, my fucking socks, shit, man. Okay, so it's hardcore military, right? We're getting a little more hardcore. And we got the old Steve McQueen. He's bouncing the baseball here against the crate of explosives for whatever reason. And the attack begins, right? And they're in the shit. And they're pinned down by unknown forces around them. It's all attacking them. A lot of the sort of back and forth communications between them. So it's like they're in the shit, in the heat of the fire, and they're calling in like, help, get me out of here. Help, send in John Wayne. And then back here, it's like, oh, on the ship, hundreds of miles away, they're sort of getting this message. And they go, the mysterious general is like, okay, we should send in we've got this experimental platoon, but I don't want to send them all. They're not ready yet. Let's just send El Crudo. Okay. That's all we know. El Crudo. We're just going to send El Crudo. Who's El Crudo? Well, we don't know yet. Meanwhile, we're going to get a glimpse back in the shit, back in the hot zone. We're going to get a glimpse at just how evil the bad guys are. I think I'm going to need to zoom in on this. Because let's see, so we get a glimpse. There's kids involved, and there's our standard guy. He's a drug user, but he's a lot more than that. He's really we can tell he's a really bad guy because he keeps a little monkey chained up in his hut.
The worst. That's the worst.
Yeah, these are the worst kind of. Well, and he flicks cigarettes at it. I mean, poor thing. Like it's not.
That guy's got to die. He got to die.
You think? Do you think this guy's gonna get some comeuppance? Well, I was hoping so. He doesn't get it in this first issue, and I'm looking through 4 issues, and I'm seeing this poor monkey keeps going through a lot of shit. So I don't know that. So I hope he's in for an epic rescue. Meanwhile, we're about to get our first look at El Crudo, so we get our sort of dramatic helicopter entry, and what do we got with the shadow of El Crudo?
Can you hear Flight of the Valkyries right now? Dun, 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 dun.
I love the smell of bananas in the morning. And okay, but here's I'm sorry. So this is where he had me. Brian, I'm in, right? I'm like, okay, they're taking this deadly serious, like Terminator, like Rambo, like whatever it's supposed to be. So I can appreciate it maybe on an over-the-top level. And so it's a monkey, and he's talking about, I can see the enemy below. There's no stars in this godless country. Not in this shit. Just dying in blood and mud and sin, right? Everything's terrible here, but he's got his chewing gum. They call me El Crudo. It means raw. Okay, I'm still with him. At this point. I'm fully with him. I've been in country for 6 weeks, but this isn't my first time seeing any live action, and I'm ready. Okay, I spent 22 months in covert training at Camp Pendleton, beating up dummies and blowing up cardboard cutouts. I've been itching to pop some gook skulls.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Now, this is what I'm hoping that this is some sort of narrative about him being like a brainwashed orangutan. There's some reason for this beyond, I don't know, beyond trying to bring out I guess if it's a period piece, it might be appropriate for a soldier of that era to be talking like this.
Sure.
I just don't know that it was necessary in the comic. I don't know that it adds anything in a good way to the comic, which is overall, without that jarring moment, I don't know.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Right? He's
so
jumping, awesome. Guns down, shooting and landing on the guy. I'm in. So I don't know. I'm not going to totally discount El Crudo. I'm going to give it a chance because maybe there's some narrative. Maybe he's a brainwashed orangutan and maybe these are things he's going to. I have a feeling, now call me a story genius, but I have the feeling our hero is going to somehow end up rescuing the small monkey from the evil.
Oh, he's got it. And that dude's got to pay. He's got to pay terribly. He's got to be
he's on the cover. And dude, he just gets kind of sicker and sicker. We get more of a look into his life in future issues. And I haven't he's a bad MFer, dude.
Yeah, that's a bad dude.
Now, this is what I call an outlaw comic, though, right? This is that style of comic that I think Tony is trying to go for. And one is sort of a little, hey, what do you know? We got in the chat. Oh my gosh, we got Rubber Wolf and we got El Crudo in the house. Cool. Awesome. Great. So I welcome any input. We don't have a ton of time. We have maybe another 15 minutes left. I'd like to talk a little bit more about these comics, but I want to read them more in depth and give it more of a chance before I make any kind of judgments. I just know without that aside, everything else about this comic really, really, really makes me want to read more of it. I really want to see more of this thing.
There you go. Thanks for giving us a chance. Check out El Crudo #4 for the background on why he thinks the way he does.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Go.
Okay. So, like I said,
this is gold. Yeah.
I'm not going to judge that in any way. I'm not going to let that preclude me from at least giving the rest of what I've got here a chance. So, thank you. I'll read #4. By the way, okay, I didn't even get to #4 yet. The cover of #3 though just took me wow.
Yeah, that's
really, really like what I'm seeing there.
Doesn't it kind of look like Corbin? It's that really beautiful rendered kind of Richard Corbin style.
Definitely. Even the orange kind of color tone of it.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's up in his game issue to issue too. If you don't see tremendous
that's amazing
difference between what we saw in the first issue and what we're seeing here, I guess maybe it's a partially different team. But
his people have totally changed too. That's great.
They've gotten better, right? We're seeing more realistic posing of the people.
Very kind of Derek Robertson.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, this could be early issues of The Boys.
Yeah, very kind of a straight ahead storytelling style, and kind of. Well, he's bringing in some interesting stuff. He's starting to mix his media.
It's great though because it's not jarring. It's very. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a nice way to do it. I wouldn't like it if that was mixed in as a single panel on a page with drawings, but as a double page spread, I think that's a cool choice. Especially when we go straight into a face stabbing on the very next page. Let's get
2 B's. It's a serious stabbing when.
It's a stab. I love it. So I will give it a chance, buddy. I definitely am going to go back through and give it a full reading, and maybe I'll bring back our old pal Larry. Here's issue number 4, and wow, now the storytelling and the coloring can see has come up another level again.
Yeah, the first issue was really muddy compared to this. This is really wow.
Look at this. This is like painted, painterly style.
So this is the secret origin, it looks like.
It looks like a flashback sequence, and I like the panel border choice for that, for framing, literally framing the story.
Very McFarlane-esque.
And I noticed just leafing through it, very few words. Okay, so I see. We're going to go back in time again and really get to the bottom of this, of how we created this killing machine, El Crudo. Not this is surprising me right now as I'm going through it, even because, like I said, I haven't read these later issues yet. So, but it starts just going in. It definitely starts going in a more sci-fi direction.
The art is amazing, though. He's just come along. This is my favorite thing. Like my one of my favorite series of all time is Chase, the DC Comics series Chase. Just because you see, I think it's J.H. Williams, right? You see him evolve from like issue to issue to issue, and that's my favorite thing about comics, is watching somebody just evolve and really become a master of their art. That's so cool.
It's awesome because you can go back and look at the work of, say, my favorite example of that, of somebody now who's a mega superstar. You go back and look at their early stuff, is like Matt Wagner.
Oh God, yeah, I love Matt Wagner, but yeah, his original stuff was so, like the DNA is there right at the beginning. You know that like his style in the early days was so simple and cartoony.
Yeah.
And then he got kind of more elaborate at one point, and then he dialed it right back to like simplicity. And it's like it's that economy of line that is the real true test of a master.
Exactly. He wasn't quite skilled enough to get what he wanted to be in the beginning, right? Like he was going, but to be that simple, to be that graceful, like an Alex Toth or something like that, is like, they make it look so easy. You know, it looks so casual, almost, the style, and it is just the work of such control.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gifted a copy of Devil by the Deed when I was in high school, and I remember like for a year that became kind of like the thing that I aped in terms of style. Years later, I met Matt Wagner, and I said, during high school, I stole your style outright. And he said, "I'm so sorry." Dude.
He is the nicest guy. I had the best fan interactions with him as a kid. Although I can't get him to be on the show yet. I can't get him to respond to me. Matt, if you're out there, I don't blame you, but I just want to talk to you so much. Am I wearing a Mage shirt? I might be wearing dude, I'm wearing a Mage shirt right now. Okay, so
there you go. Come on.
So please, Matt, please. All right.
I wish I had my original Kamiko Mage graphic novels down here, but they're upstairs on my second floor. So.
Oh man, the oversized, the 3-part.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah.
So here's my Mage story, if I may. We still got time. I accidentally read the volume 3 first.
And you know what? With Mage, it would have kind of made sense.
It did, but I was confused a little bit. But like, I got the whole reveal and the giveaway of what the whole thing was about before I, Oh wow,
that's awesome though.
But look at this, dude.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That is gorgeous. Frazetta called, and he wanted to inspire this guy.
Definitely death dealing. And look at this, mostly wordless. Painterly, mixed media. Good looking stuff. All right, El Crudo. And then our bad guys. He's still out there. Is he still out the monkey?
Don't spoil me. Don't spoil me.
No, I don't think we have any monkey comeuppance yet, but I feel like it's coming. I feel like it's coming.
Next issue.
Oh, say your prayer.
I feel like the next issue, El Crudo gets his butt handed to him, and he comes back in issue 6.
That's the arc, right?
Yeah. The coup de grace.
Now look at this is
That's
like
awesome.
Who did this? Because this is like, I don't know if you can quite see how good this is. This is really good stuff. It's not signed or anything. Maybe the credits are in there, but I'll have to read this letter. I will give your stuff a new chance, but El Crudo, it came to me yesterday, literally, and I'm like, this has to go on the air with Six Gun Gorilla. I'm giving both of these big props. I'm going to say Six Gun Gorilla. This is a mainstream hit of a concept. Like, it's a winner all around, and like the talent is fully formed. Like, these guys are. This could easily be an Image comic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Or any other publisher. Now, this one a little more raw, a little more outlaw. But which one do I want to read the next issue of more? That's the true question. El Crudo, I'm a little more interested in El Crudo. I am interested in Six Gun Gorilla. I'm going to give it all a chance. They actually have a lot in common. It seems like they have a similar arc of like the abused monkey growing up into a homicidal gun-wielding maniac.
Ape, Dan. Ape.
Right. Sorry. It's almost offensive, right? It's almost offensive. I have another thing. I got another book from Bottle Crow Productions, but I'm going to do this next time.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think.
Yeah, this guy, I did some on the last show, I think. I did a bunch of books that he sent me in a similar mini comics format. This is Derek Freeland with art by Savannah Irvin Villa. Oh, yeah, story. They co-authored it. And anyway, this is some good stuff. This is it's really high quality cartooning and very interesting storytelling. But, somebody who's not shying away from drawing like the dirty details of the street and the background stuff. These are the things that really sell a comic, but that a lot of some artists kind of leave out.
It's beautiful, like Jeff Smith kind of cartooning. Like, it's gorgeous. It's really good. He uses these wide panels to good effect on this shortened page, which even kind of widens them more. And I don't know, that widescreen effect, that's something like Mark Millar and Brian Hitch did. Hitch talked a lot about it in my interview with him, and how it, he wouldn't do any breakouts from the panel to try and keep it completely contained within the frame, almost like a cinematographer. And of course, the same aspect ratio. Beautiful stuff. I'm going to pull this guy back in because, again, I want to do a full reading of it. I've had this sitting for a while, but man, I've had a stack. But I don't know about you, but 2020 has been a killer. It's 2021. That's how much of a killer 2020 is.
I know, dude. I mean, 2021.
We're halfway through.
And yet, it's June of 2021, and I'm still like playing catch up on 2020.
I know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Right, Brian, what's next on the plate over there for Manage Comics?
Well, we're gonna get this beta out next week, so it's all hands on deck this week as we stomp those last little bugs. Next week, beta. We'll do that for a couple weeks, put it into a larger beta, and then August we're going live. So, barring any horrible mishaps, knock on wood.
Rubber Wolf says, nice catch on the Caliber homage, by the way. It took me a minute, Tony. It took me a minute. And I go, I know this. What is it? And the word Caliber came to my mind, and I Googled it, and I'm like, yeah, I did know. White Wolf was a lot easier. The Ulf cover. It's early 70s DC. I'm trying to think of like what's a good example, Tony, of that. Like, I go like when the Superman family was coming out. It was that kind of era almost.
Or the what was that? Was that series that had like Atlas and Lady Cop and what was that called? Because that's exactly where they had the DC in the center, and they would have the things along the side. Yeah.
What I like is everybody does like, go checks or whatever, but Tony went obscure for sure. Yeah, that Ulf cover is sick. I loved this Caliber cover. It's just like nobody is gonna get this, Tony. That's what I love. Nobody. Who's gonna know that reference? Very few. But those who do know it are gonna be like, yes, this is my thing. Cool. And Sequential Geek had some great comments. Keep rocking on. Rubber Wolf says, "Hey, I'm down to be on anytime." That'd be great, man. Tony, I'll be in touch for sure. I got openings. Oh, speaking of who being on the show, wait a minute. Speaking of which, Brian, next week, you know who I got next week?
Who you got?
Guess.
Oh,
he's a legendary indie guy. He's done stuff for all the majors. He's doing writing stuff to this day. He's known as a cartoonist. He's written very angry stuff. We're going to talk to Evan Dorkin. Great.
Dorkin, nice.
Great choice with Peter Bagg. We've had Peter a couple times on the show.
Yeah.
Evan, I've been trying to track down forever, and he finally agreed to make some time and come in. I'm so excited about that.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Oh, in the chat, Voodoo Magic just popped in and just wondering what's going on. What's all this about? And friend of the show, Coffee Breath, just letting people know what we do here. Oh yeah, thanks, Coffee, for queuing me up, by the way, because if you want to see your comics reviewed here on the Million Dollar Mailbox, there's only one place to go. Wait a minute, how do I get rid of this? And then I got to bring over this thing, and I got to put this on. You got to go to the Million Dollar Mailbox, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. You want to see me paw through your carefully crafted comics with wild abandon and pass judgment on them? Then this is where you send it, pal. What else?
It's okay though. Your hands are super dry, right? Like they're not moist and squishy. They're really dry.
Dude, I caught so much heat for because I'm flipping through Dark Knight Returns first printings that have been sitting around, sitting on my bookshelf forever. Who cares? People really get, no pun intended, bent out of shape when I bend the pages on my comics for sure. Okay, let's see what else. Great. All right, that's it for now. Anybody, if there's any other questions out there, you can bring them in. But we gotta skedaddle, folks. Some of us got day jobs.
That's right.
We can't all be. That's right. Some of us got bugs to stomp. Exactly. That's what I gotta go do. I gotta go step on some bugs, but mine are not comic book related like yours, Brian. So I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah, it is a pretty fun job, I gotta admit. It's the best part is at the end of the month when I'm going through the catalogs, and sometimes it's really, really annoying because the data is just so terrible. But at the same time, I'm looking at comics. Like, how angry can I be?
It helps.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine? Yeah, if you were looking through like a hardware catalog about different gauges of screws and metric and whatever, it'd be like at least every month is 3,000 new items, but like thousands of fun and interesting new things that are gonna turn into who knows what.
Yeah. Every month I try and figure out how I'm not going to spend my entire paycheck on.
All right, Brian, tell them one more time. Where do they go if they want to start a comic book store? They need to know how to get started selling online.
Absolutely. So go to managedcomics.com. First of all, if you are interested in the business of comics, go to managedcomics.com, and in the upper corner there's a link to our blog. Our blog has not only just stuff about Managed Comics, but just good retail tips in general. I wrote a post this last week about actually it was a couple weeks ago, just about upcoming movies and TV in 2021 and what will sell compared to those things. I write stuff about how to optimize your store product pages and listings with these best practices. So if you're interested in like the business of running a comic store, go there. But if you want to get on the Managed Comics 2.0 wait list, go there. Right on the front, there's a big box. Add yourself to the list, and we'll get you onto our list as soon as we're ready to go in about a month. And did you hear
awesome.
that in a boot there?
I did. I was biting my tongue to not comment on it, Brian. You had
boot a month, guys.
All right, dude. I'll use my California dude.
There you go.
Brian is we've said he's like my mirror universe twin.
That's right.
But we're still trying to figure out who the evil one is.
I know we both got beards, so who knows, right?
It's impossible to tell, yeah, because of the facial hair. Brian, thanks for coming in. Thanks for filling in on the $1 Million Mailbox. I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun, Dan. Thanks.
Okay.
We'll talk again soon.
And I'll tell you what, queue up, get that demo right, and let's come in and we'll do the real deal.
You got it, brother.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
All right.
See you, Dan.
Thank you, pal. Hey, and thank you for sticking around and watching this thing. Man, I'm going to keep the $1 Million Mailbox up because I just love what could be a better background than just amazing comics that I paid nothing for. Nothing. I'm that kind of a cheapskate, right? Like people send me free comics and I read them and I talk about them. So please, guys, I need more. Please send me more comics. Send them into the $1 Million Mailbox. I will check them out with Larry or with Brian or just even by myself. But I will give you the real deal. I will expose your audience, your comics to an audience of, I don't know, several dozen at least, but several dozen who are very, really, truly into comics, and not just any comics, but the kind of comics you like, we like. You know what I'm talking about? I think you do. If you're looking at these comics and liking them, if you're looking at these comics and going like, what is, show's not for you, sorry. But if you're watching it and looking at it and going, man, these things look freaking awesome, then please, I abhor you. Please, I appeal to you. Click that like thing. Click the subscribe button. Please subscribe. That's the lifeblood of this channel, is your eyeballs. So keep checking them out. Come back. We're going to have, oh my God, I'm just going to keep this show going at least once a week for the foreseeable future. And we'll be back with Evan Dorkin on the very next show at the very next time, which is, when is that thing again? I forgot. Oh yeah, it's next time.
Who's in the $1 Million Mailbox? One guess who? Who'd never ever start an argument? Who'd never show a bit of temperament? Who's never wrong but always right? Who'd never dream of starting a fight? Who's on your screen with the comic book scene? No one but Dan Shaheen.